Well, attendees, I'm glad you can hear us. My name is Emmanuel Waddell. Thank you for coming to this CREST PI business meeting. I'm told the Zoom room is live. What's going on is that we cannot see you. It sounds like you can hear us, but you cannot see us. So I'm going to do my best to navigate this I'm currently in Huntsville, Alabama, and everyone else is located probably in the DC metro area. And now that we've had a gathering, my intent was to go through and have you introduce yourselves, but I don't think I can hear you. So I'm just going to look at my participant list if I can and see some names, because I don't think there's a way for you to introduce yourself. It should be the CREST meeting. I saw in the previous chat, we had a lot of attendees from the California schools, which is great because I know you had to get up a little bit early to attend. We saw a number from the Southern schools. I believe I saw North Carolina A&T present. I saw Howard present. Forgive me if I'm overlooking your school. I'm going off memory in terms of what I saw earlier. Hopefully you enjoyed the presentation by Dr. Alexandra Newby. I'm going to assume that you can see the screen. Oh, you text San Antonio. Yeah, that's great to put into the chat. So if you want to take a few moments to represent your institution, to place it into the chat, I can see the chat. New Mexico State University, that's great. North Carolina A&T, FISC, Tennessee State, VSU, this is great. All right, so we'll make the technology work. It's like being on the space station. New Mexico Highlands, UMES, Southern University, Merced, UDC, Cal State Berkesfield, Tuskegee, City College of New York, University of Puerto Rico, Mayagüez, you can tell I made a C in Spanish, UMass, Delaware State, University of New Mexico. So I'm going to stop there. Thank you for representing. And I'm going to assume that you can see the screen. And the next thing we have is I'm representing at the moment the CREST team of Victor Santiago, Marilyn Suter, and Nikki Gass. My name is Emmanuel Waddell. I'm a rotator. I'm an IP here, IPA at NSF. So what we're going to start off with is the research.gov presentation. We're almost right on time because it is 4 minutes after the hour. My internal timesheet, we're supposed to start 5 minutes after the hour, and I use after the hour because we're in a world where we're coming from different time zones. So I don't want to confuse anyone. So I'm not sure if you can see our presenters who are Sonia Aurora. Apologies if I've mispronounced your name. Maria Kozaka, Stephen Ellis, and Jean Feldman. Can someone let us know if you see the shared screen that has the modernizing proposal preparation submission? Yes, all right. So I will let the rest of the team have it.
All right. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sonia Aurora. I'm the lead program manager for the research.gov modernization efforts at the foundation. Presenting with me today will be Dr. Stephen Ellis. He's a program director from the Directorate of Biological Sciences. Also presenting with me, it will be Jean Feldman. She's the head of our policy office here. Also, Maria Kozolka, she's also the head of our research.gov business office. So on our agenda today, we're going to walk you through why we have this modernization initiative and why it was launched. We're going to talk about our proposal preparation and submission migration from Fastlane to research.gov. We're going to give you some context around this. Why do we decide to do this? When are we doing this, and how? We're also going to provide some tips to our research community, so some takeaway for you. What are some of our recent system enhancements, and what's our development efforts? Where are we today, and what we have left to do? We're also going to provide some training materials and resources that's available to you to support the migration over to research.gov. We will also provide, opportunities for feedback, where you can do that, how you can do that, and then a Q&A session. So what is the proposal submission modernization effort? So this initiative is to modernize our proposal submission capabilities and migrate those functionality from Fastlane over to research.gov. So part of this is we did launch this initiative back in 2015, where we did collect feedback from our external community, such as yourself, our research community. We also stood up a team to analyze essentially how our modern users think. What are some of the capabilities that's offered to them in their daily lives, for example, online banking. So we did, look at all these feedbacks to build out this new and modern system. So just for clarification, research.gov is not the same as grants.gov. It's a separate application. However, we do accept proposals submitted through grants.gov. So when we started off this initiative, we defined a few objectives that we set to meet to build this out. And that was to improve the user experience, right? Building out a user-friendly UI, improve the data quality where we can capture proposal content to support data analytics, to increase efficiency for proposal management, also to improve availability and security of our proposal data. And ultimately to reduce administrative burden, both for our research community as well as our internal NSF staff. So this last September, our NSF director, Dr. Panchanathan, signed off on an important notice, which was disseminated and shared with our universities, our institutions and organizations to mention that we at NSF are taking proactive steps to incrementally move our proposal preparation and submission capabilities from Fastlane to research.gov. We also did mention that some of those funding opportunities are moving as we speak over to research.gov. So part of this process would be that once it's in research.gov, we would turn it off in Fastlane. And so the first directorate to have successfully completed this, or at least near completion, is our biological Directorate of Biological Sciences, where Dr. Steve Ellis represents. So we've had success in moving that over, and right now we are moving over, or excuse me, let me back it up. We did move over the BioCore programs without deadlines. And so now we're working on moving the ones with deadlines over to research.gov. In addition, we do have other directorates, such as the Directorate of GEO as well as EHR, to move some of their solicitations over. So part of this is also looking at, are the features and functionality available in research.gov to have a successful migration outcome. Part of that is also looking at, what's there that we can easily move over from Fastlane to research.gov. So we want to give some notice, advice, some training opportunities and materials for you all to start thinking about, looking into, to have a successful transition over. So now I'll hand it over to Dr. Ellis to go over the why.
Okay, thank you, Sonia. So all of you may be wondering, why on earth would we do this to you? Why would we take your Fastlane away? Basically because we have to. In computer years, Fastlane is ancient technology. It's about 27 years old at this point, and it's just too expensive to maintain. It's too cumbersome to modify, and it represents real both information deficiencies and security threats. So it's just time to do this. And so we've been working on designing a better system that conforms to modern standards and does some of the things that the community asked us to. When this project started, the community's #1 concern was how to submit more compliant and complete proposals. So we've built in that kind of support to help you submit better proposals and reduce your risk of return without review. Essentially, that's one of the driving design features of the whole thing. Basically, we've been adding capacity since the spring of 18, and as of last summer, July 2020, all of the pieces required for a standard PAPG compliant research proposal were available in the system, including cost sharing. And Sonia just described, we're starting this migration process where we're gradually moving solicitations onto the research.gov platform so that there's not a watershed moment where everyone panics and tries to figure out research.gov all at once. Throughout this spring and the rest of the year, we will continue to add new proposal types and features to the system so that it will be sort of everything we hope it will be as a new and modern system. Part of that will include expanded and improved compliance checking so that, again, your risk of return without review is reduced and we're better able to serve you by having to spend less time manually doing compliance checking. Next slide, please, Sonia. So the last points I made sort of alluded to this. The way we're going to support this migration is to do incremental releases of capacity over time so that there's not big disruptive change. That's a design philosophy for the foundation. We don't want to spring surprises on you or make everything happen all at once. We are also working internally to make sure as many of our program officers and division leadership and directorate leadership knows what's going on and can help answer your questions as they have them. This is part of our foundation-wide outreach effort as we go to different parts of the community to tell you what's going on and try to answer any questions you have. And ultimately, we're going to make sure that all of our messaging is very consistent. We'll be updating all of our web pages and the policy documents like the PAPG. And on the next slide, please. We have just a few tips for you at this point to help you use the new system and sort of get you used to the transition. If you've never used Fastlane, don't worry about it. You don't have to start now, and you probably shouldn't. You can just go right to research.gov. So when you're using the system, you just have to bear in mind a couple of things. One, and this is really important, if you start a proposal in one system, you have to finish it in that system. You can't transfer data between Fastlane or research.gov. That's an important point to remember. And after your proposal is reviewed and hopefully you've been contacted and someone wants to make an award but is asking for a revised budget, you have to do it in the same system where you created your proposal. Same thing for a proposal file update. And if you're submitting a collaborative project with multiple people from different institutions, say, all of you must be working in the same system. You can't combine a separately submitted collaborative between Fastlane and research.gov. It's just not built that way. Once we get them on our side, it's exactly the same as it always has been, and there's no difference in the merit review, the handling, or even the visual impact. It's the same thing on our side. So there's no worries about submitting through one or the other to have any negative impacts on your proposal. And we are trying to make sure, again, that we're responsive to any questions or needs you have as things go along. And we've listed there on the screen the help desk number, 1-800-381-1532, and some email addresses, r.gov@nsf.gov, where you can reach out to get email support or send in questions that you have. And Jean is going to tell you about some of the other changes that we've made for the community.
Jean, you're talking on mute.
Sorry, thanks. Delighted to be at this CREST PI business meeting. Always excited to be at these EHR events, and you have a fabulous team of program officers working the CREST program. So let me continue along some of the lines that Steve has just been talking about, and talking about a recent research.gov system enhancement that has been very much of interest to the community regarding font warning changes. And so effective in November 23rd to be precise, we removed the compliance checks and associated compliance warnings for font type and font size in research.gov to make it exactly the way it was with the Fastlane system. I want to emphasize that what we had implemented in research.gov was precisely in compliance with NSF requirements. However, PIs were using this system, saw the warnings, and got very confused about what those warnings meant and what the implications were to their proposals. And clearly, we can see and hear you that a return without review or having a proposal not accepted is something of tremendous interest to you. We want to get you using RGov. We don't want you to be frightened about using RGov. And so we just use this as an opportunity to make RGov completely in alignment with Fastlane regarding the warnings that you would get about font type and font size. And so we're hoping that should be of great interest to you. We do want to emphasize to you, however, that we do have our requirements clearly specified in the PAP guide in Chapter 2B2A, to be precise. And we still can return without review if they're not in compliance with the PAP guide. But obviously, we made these changes because the feedback from you was very of great concern to us. We were worried that you were stepping back from Fastlane because you got a warning. A warning doesn't mean that it can't be submitted. It's just that, a warning. But we really did not want people moving away. We are using this as an opportunity to get more and more faculty on board with using research.gov. Next slide, please. So recent research.gov system enhancements regarding proposal types. We had, as Steve said, throughout the early part of FY20, got all of our research proposals fully compliant with the PAP guide on board and available to go, including collaborative separately submitted and the prime proposals with subawards. We also got even the cost sharing, as Steve mentioned. Well, one of the more recent things that we rolled out and we're very excited about is that we most recently rolled out Rapid Response Research. We call them RAPID for short, our EAGER program, and RAISE, Research Advanced by Interdisciplinary Science and Engineering. Those were also came on board on November 23rd. Very, very excited about that. And what this screen shows you is that when you go into RGov, you'll enter basic information about your funding opportunity, where to apply. And then you'll come to this screen and it will show you what you are available to do now. And what is available now, again, is research, the RAPID, EAGER, RAISE. We're very excited that all of those are available now. We are getting ready to look at some additional releases that we hope you'll be very excited about. And once they're enabled, they will be operable and you will be able to click on that box and you'll be able to use them. Now, let me emphasize, when we roll out a new system, there are associated automated compliance checks associated and built into that system. So we have, for example, our RAISE proposals require you to upload concurrence memos from program officers. The system will be built to understand and make sure that those are uploaded before you can even submit that proposal. Similarly, RAPID has amounts, durations that you can do. So does EAGER. And those you will make sure you're fully compliant because it will not let you submit something that has a dollar value in excess of what's allowable for RAPID or EAGER proposals or timeframes that are inconsistent with what's in the PAP guide. Next slide, please. So where are we and what's ahead? I think that some of this has already been said, but let me focus on what there is currently. As I've just mentioned, all of these things are available under the current capabilities. All three types of research, RAPID, EAGER, and RAISE, again, were available in November of 2020. Maria Kozalka is going to talk a bit more about the training slide that we released and are very, very excited about the opportunities that those present for you and your institutions in terms of kicking the tires a bit and getting familiar with use of the system. As I just mentioned, we do have some upcoming capabilities that we are targeting in spring of 2021. We will enable facilitation awards with scientists and engineers with disabilities. We call those our FOSSED proposals, as well as conference equipment and travel. We are actually going to hold off on GOLI until the end of this fiscal year. But very shortly, you will have 4 different types of proposals that we know folks use a lot, particularly conference proposals, equipment proposals, and travel proposals to NSF, and again, they will be fully compliant with NSF requirements. We are also targeting in this spring release withdrawal of proposals, single and separately submitted proposal submissions. Career proposals, we just got a question, so let me answer it really quickly. Career proposals can already go through research.gov. Future capabilities that we're talking about are SBIR, our Small Business Innovation Research, Small Business Technology Transfer, phases 1 and 2, are definitely on the future capabilities, as well as Ideas Labs, Center, Research Infrastructure, and Fellowship proposals. But we're not ending with just submission of the full proposals. We know that there are a lot of things that you do in Fastlane that you're still going to need to do when we make the full switch over to research.gov. And that includes letter of intent, preliminary proposals, full proposals that are related to a preliminary proposal, renewals, and accomplishment-based renewals. Those are still on the plate, and we will be developing those in the coming months. Solicitation-specific requirements, also obviously a very, very important functionality that must exist, because some programs, and we have one on the screen that many of you may know, the Division of Undergraduate Education has a project data form. We want to make sure that those are built out, and that is clearly on our list of things to do, as well as approved deviations from the PAP guide. Things like if the program description in the solicitation specifies that instead of 15 pages, you can submit 20. We have to build a capability for that, and that is absolutely on our list of things to do. I am now going to turn it over to Maria Kozalka.
Thank you, Jean. It's a pleasure to be here. We're really excited. Back in October, we launched our proposal, research.gov proposal demonstration site, preparation site, excuse me. And this is for the research community and for NSF staff. And you see here a sample of the front page screenshot. And what's really nice is that to get into the system, you actually have the role of a PI, and you actually are using the research.gov, you're actually using the proposal submission system. The key is, though, that you must sign into research.gov in order to access the demo site. And again, as a reminder, you'll have the role of the PI just for the demo purpose, for the demo site purposes. We have more FAQs on our About Proposal Preparation submission page, and you'll see more information here. So we encourage you to share this with your colleagues, as well as to, as Jean said, to kick the tires. I think we're really excited about this, and I think it's a really good resource for the research community and also for our staff as well. Next slide, please. These two screenshots show the research.gov main proposal page. We've developed a number of resources, training resources for you that include information tooltips, links to the PAPG, links to our FAQs, and also links to video tutorials. So you'll see the arrow on top, the top figure, you'll see the arrow that shows the helpful links. And on the bottom half of the slide, you'll see our research.gov about proposal preparation and submission site. Again, we have a number of FAQs. We have links to the video tutorials. And then we also have a link to our research.gov proposal automated compliance checklist. These are both great resources. And again, we encourage you and your staff to look at these and to share these broadly with your colleagues. Next slide, please. So as part of our development efforts, we're really interested in getting feedback from the research community. As we're building this, we are reaching out, and you know, as development progresses, we do solicit feedback. One way to solicit feedback is if you go to the research.gov webpage on the main page, and if you can look in the lower left-hand corner, there's a little button, a little icon, where you can actually submit feedback to NSF, and we do look at that. We do look at that on a regular basis. And when you go into that icon, you actually would select, excuse me, proposal preparation and submission. There is a drop-down menu. And then you would select the proposal preparation demo site if that's specific to the feedback that you'd want to provide. But again, we do look at that on a regular basis, and it helps us identify, you know, what are the issues that people are seeing associated with research.gov or any of the specific parts of the various systems. So next page, please. So this page lists all the various resources that we have for the research community. The first bullet is our NSF system update listserv. So if you'd like to know, well, what is the latest development going on with research.gov, you know, what kind of enhancements are going on, as well as Fastlane news, you would just submit this blank email and then join our listserv. The second bullet is an automated compliance checking of the NSF proposal page. I just touched upon that on another slide. And this actually includes a link to all of the compliance checking that we have per proposal type. And this is updated on a regular basis. So we do keep up, and this is a really important section to look at as you're developing your proposal. We do have FAQs associated with the NSF biographical sketch and the current and pending support. That includes tutorials and different resources that include step-by-step instructions as well as screenshots. I did show you the about proposal preparation and submission page. Again, we're constantly developing new FAQs and video tutorials. As we get new questions from the community, that's updated. So that's a really good resource also. And as a reminder, check back frequently. We do have the research.gov about account management page if you're interested in getting information about your account. And the next bullet is something that's near and dear to my heart. It's the NSF Electronic Research Administration, which we call ERA Forum. And this is a webinar that we hold. It's a collaborative effort between the policy office, our systems office, and our research.gov business office. This is put on twice a year, and it's highly, highly attended. We have thousands of participants. And what we do here is we actually show you what we've been, what we've been building in research.gov, oftentimes we'll ask, we'll show you different options, and we'll ask, well, what is your, research community, what is your opinion? And we also include as part of the ERA forum, we also include a survey at the end, and the survey is also specific to whatever, whatever development efforts that you've seen, and we do want your feedback. So the next ERA forum is in planning, and we anticipate that will be at the end of March. So if you're interested in signing up or getting more information about the ERA forum, the next bullet includes the forum listserv address, and just send us a blank email, and then we'll send you more information about the upcoming ERA forum. So thank you.
Let me also make a comment about the ERA forum that Maria just covered. It is absolutely vital as a way, and as an information feedback loop to NSF. And while we do get thousands and thousands of research administrators, the percentage of faculty are not clearly as high as we'd like it to be. So please, we've just given you the ability to have a tool to be able to feedback to NSF issues that you are having, and you could get your questions answered there. So I would strongly encourage you to participate in the ERA forum.
Thank you, Jean.
So to kick off our Q&A, I wanted to address one of the questions that was in the chat. I think it was the last one. So one of the things that we're very proud of for research.gov is the compliance check and how quickly you receive that feedback. So it's instantaneous. Once you do the upload per the section, then it will give you a feedback whether it's compliant or not. And also, for anyone that's supporting the proposal, whether it's a PI or the AOR, there is on the main proposal page, we did create a dashboard where it tells you per the section if there's any issues with compliance, or if the validation gave you a warning or error, it would also provide some details there. Any other questions for us? So while people are marinating over and maybe thinking about some questions, so I think the big takeaway here is that this is the future of NSF. I mean, this is the way we're going to be conducting business. So we really want you all to understand that there is this migration plan in place. And so right now, with myself and my partners here, what we are doing internally is meeting with our senior leaders, getting buy-in. And so we already got the buy-in to move over. It's just that we want to do it gradually because that minimizes burden for both our internal staff as well as you. And it also provides the opportunity to provide some catered support. So that's why we really encourage you all to at least, if you're not ready to submit, then at least take take some time away and look at the resources we have for you, especially the demo site. And I think that's, one of your best bet to understand how the system behaves and functions. And if you have questions there, we have built-in feedback links right there on your screen, that if there's a particular section you have a question with, that you don't understand the behavior or functionality, provide that feedback. We do take those seriously. We incorporate those feedback into our development approach. So any feedback, any and every feedback is welcome.
I would like to also add to that, we're getting a number of the comments have been all about compliance checking. And we get that, and we understand that obviously that's vital to you. You don't want to spend a whole lot of time putting together a proposal only to have it not be accepted at the last minute or returned without review. that actually is one of the beauties that we've been trying to emphasize in our presentation here, is that we have built in a lot more automated compliance checking than what you currently see in FastLane to help ensure that that won't happen to you, that you are fully compliant, that it will help you better understand what NSF requirements are regarding the proposal preparation process. So I just wanted to emphasize that there are a significantly higher number of compliance checks in research.gov than are currently available in our FastLane system.
Any other questions?
The only question I see in the chat is about the HBCU Rise program, not this one specifically. Dabashish, if you can put the rest of your question in the chat or in the Q&A function, we'll try to get you some clarification.
And also the question about the HBCU Rise, we will probably be able to answer those questions individually later on, probably via email. I think I know what Tibet's question is in regard to, and I'll get back to you with the email, Tibet.
So Arturo just posted a question about a late December 2020 proposal where there were problems with the current and pending PDF templates. Trust us, we are very well aware of those issues. We are working to resolve them and improve those forms, and we will try to roll out updates as quickly as we can.
Let me also emphasize there are a lot of FAQs available on completion of both the biographical sketch. We have 2 ways to do it, an NSF fillable format, as well as Science CV for both biographical sketch and current and pending. We have put together, the policy office receives questions each and every day. Based on those, we keep adding. So many of your issues are probably addressed in those FAQs. So before you start preparing, it's a good idea, just look at it. It may very well help you not have the issue that's just been explained on the screen.
So to add to what Jean just mentioned, so where you can find these resources is in our About page. And so you can get, information about our development efforts, what's in research.gov, what's not, what's for a later date. Also our compliance, how do we check, to ensure compliance. That's also available. And also we have taken great strides in providing additional materials and resources to guide you through research.gov proposal preparation and submission. In fact, one of the things that we have done, thinking about our modern users, is providing on-screen instructions. And Maria did share a screenshot with you all on what that looks like. We also provided inline help to, quickly understand what this is asking. So, we've tried our very best to put everything on the screen so you don't have to search the site for guidance on that particular section. But again, everything that we've mentioned is on the About page.
And Steve just gave you a couple of links to the pages that I was talking about regarding questions on current and pending support.
So we had a question from Debashish about eagers and rapids. Rapids are basically time-sensitive events. They're limited to 1 year and $200,000. They are described in the PAPG right next to where eager is if you want more details. We don't have a separate proposal type for HBCUs or MSIs, no. But we do have other solicitations, which Emmanuel will, I think, tell you about Absolutely. When he answers the other questions that you've had.
Right.
Well, thank you, everyone. We're at 20 minutes until the top of the hour. So we're going to close this part of the presentation. Thank you so much. Those are some very good questions. Hopefully everyone was able to collect the contact information for additional questions because this will be a change for all of us, but we have a very strong team working the process, and we're looking forward to getting out of FastLane and moving over to research. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so
Bye,
much. Really
everyone.
appreciate that.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
All right, so next on the agenda is we have Victor Santiago. I was worried I was going to have to do this presentation, but he's shown up. I feel like a Luke Skywalker learning at the feet of Yoda, so to speak, for all you Star Wars fans out there. So Victor, looks like you're unmuted. We're going to go do a test to make sure everyone can hear you.
Yes, hello, Victor Santiago here.
All right,
Can you hear
excellent.
me?
Well, I'm going to share my screen. Give me one moment. And all right, so the screen should be shared. And I will get confirmation via the chat. Is that the case? Okay. All right, Victor, how about it?
Thank you, Emmanuel. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a real pleasure to meet with you. I was looking forward to this. What I'd like to do is share with you a very brief overview of the CREST program. Next slide. The goals of the CREST program and each and every CREST award are to build, develop, and expand, to build STEM research capability at minority serving institutions, to develop STEM knowledge, and to expand diverse student presence in STEM fields. Next slide, please. The CREST program seeks to achieve these goals by supporting 5 tracks: the establishment of CREST centers, implementation of HBCU RISE research projects, supplements for institutional partnerships, supplements for partnerships with small business, and postdoc fellowship. Next slide. The CREST program currently supports 33 CREST centers, from Hawaii to Florida, from New York to New Mexico, in disciplines ranging from material science to forestry. CREST also supports 12 HBCU RISE awards at PhD granting institutions. Since its establishment, next slide, and next, please. Since its establishment, the CREST program has supported 93 CREST centers, or CREST Center awards, and 47 HBCU RISE awards. This represents a total investment of about $450 million through the CREST program alone. However, the CREST budget has been level at $23 million for the past 7 or 8 years. So we've got 33 centers running, and we've got $23 million a year. Obviously, the CREST award rate is clearly not sustainable. Budget pressure increases as more CREST proposals become even more competitive, and additional institutions become CREST eligible. So we have more institutions that are eligible, and we have stronger and stronger proposals from those that have been around for a while. So the challenge is for us to demonstrate the contribution of CREST within our institutions, within our communities, and within your disciplines. That's clear, that's the case. One of this afternoon's speakers will elaborate on this topic, how to evidence progress. And about the CREST calendar for fiscal year 2021 involves an ongoing CREST Center competition. We will recommend new CREST Center awards in the spring. HBCU RISE proposals as well as partnership supplement requests are due just next week. Emmanuel will talk about the CREST postdoctoral research fellowships a little later. So last slide, please don't hesitate to contact us through email. Thank you. Any questions?
So I'll check the chat to see if there are questions in the chat. Supplement deadline is February 11th. There was a question about the CREST supplement deadlines. Are there any other questions? Or may we show the deadlines again? Yes, I will attempt to bring that screen up. Right. Give me one second. And
Perhaps you should manage that question on the manual. One of the
Well,
guys was
yes.
asking about the postdoc deadline. There it goes.
the
December 3rd.
postdoc on the calendar, the proposals were due December 4th. We expect the applications on the final decisions to be made by May. And hopefully you can see the deadlines. Are there any other questions? If so, please place them in the chat. Oh, there's a question in the Q&A. How can we help advocate for budget increases to this incredible, successful, and useful program? You have any comments on that, Victor?
Well, there's certain areas where we shouldn't engage, but by demonstrating the contribution of your CREST award to your community and to the discipline, to the field, that alone may be sufficient to garner some assistance regarding budget. So it's up to us.
It's up to us. Any other questions? Okay, I don't see any additional questions. That said, we will continue. Oh, any suggestion after CREST for consideration? Could you expand on that question, please, Debasis? I'll give you a few moments to type that into the chat. And the question may be in terms of what additional programs or solicitations after CREST. Oh, CREST is 10 years old. What else should we consider, ERC or STC? I'll let you have an answer of that, Victor.
Well, ERC and STC, those are the premier, the largest awards in NSF. So yes, either would be great, if not as the lead institution, but as a partner institution. That would be ideal. That would be the natural progression for a CREST center to then become part of one of these larger NSF centers. That would be ideal, as was the case with North Carolina A&T. They began with CREST and wound up with an ERC, an Engineering Research Center, with them at the lead. So so the only minority serving institution to reach that goal. So yes, either would be great.
See, Rama's question about last year's supplemental requests, we expect those to be notifications to be coming out to those who have not received those soon. Any other questions? Our CREST is getting 2 years old. How should we know to request remaining 3 years of funding?
Well, you cannot have more than one active CREST center at a time. So you got to figure out the next date such that you don't have interruption between your 5th year and your 6th year. So yes, that's a great question. You'll have to figure that out based on the calendar of CREST competition that we put forth. But yeah, there's a way you could always ask for a no-cost extension if you need more time on your first CREST setting. The objective is to avoid an interruption. So yeah, you'll have to figure that out. We could talk about that.
Okay. It is 9 minutes till the top of the hour. So we're going to continue on to the next part of our program, which is I'm going to stop my screen sharing. And I'm going to hand the controls over to Maggie Carlin and Ariel Hunt, who will discuss the CREST web process.
Okay, thank you, Victor. Let me just pull up our slides. Move into full screen. Okay, can everyone see my slides?
Yes.
So for this portion of the meeting, Ariel and I are here to discuss the CREST annual data collection, or also referred to as CREST Web. We are going to give an overview of this data collection and run through some common issues that we receive as part of this reporting effort. So just quick introductions. Again, my name is Maggie Carlin. I'm the ICF project manager for this data collection effort. And then Ariel is our lead technical support team member who handles most of your questions. So this slide is just to kind of give you some background for the difference between this reporting and your annual reports that have been talked about quite a bit throughout research.gov. So this is an effort as part of a program evaluation effort. It provides NSF with aggregate data that is used for federal reporting requirements, as well as measuring the program's attainment of set goals. As mentioned, it is an annual data collection and it is administered by a third-party contractor, which is us, ICF. The data are collected through an online system, an online data collection system called CREST Web. And then it is supported by our team, CREST Technical Support, and we are here to assist with your questions and of course with the reporting effort. So this slide covers the data collection timeline. We typically open in early December and we're open for approximately 11 weeks and then we close in late February. So for this year's 2020 data collection cycle, the due date is February 25th, 2021. We collect data based on a specific reporting period. For this cycle again, that is July 1, 2019 through June 30th, 2020, and each award reports on the same cycle. It's all the same for all reporting awards. And then what to expect, reminders from us, support from us, and then emails that come from our email address, support@crestweb.org. And this slide, the next few slides, I'm just sort of going to walk through the main menu of the online data collection system, CREST Web. So when you log into CREST Web, your landing page is the main menu. I just wanted to point out that our due date is listed at that top blue banner, and that kind of follows you through each data collection screen. So you have that race to you, and then the reporting period as well appears on the top right corner, and that follows you through your reporting process as well. And then this next slide is the full view of the main menu. So again, when you log in, you see this is your landing page. There are instructions for this reporting effort. And then that left blue box with a list of vertical links, that is the survey questionnaire itself, beginning with we collect center information through to functional budget data, and then ending with your final submission. So for this slide, it's just really a high-level view of the data that we collect as part of this effort. We collect center information, which includes contact information, the URL for your center, and the number of student participants. We collect information about the institutions, both collaborative and partner institutions, on your CREST project. The participants, including PIs, co-PIs, faculty, and postdoctoral students, or students, other personnel and contributors, and then accomplishments, which is broken out by proposal/awards, presentations, publications, collaborative projects, patents, activities, conferences organized, and then finally we collect functional budget data. This next slide, I would like to just highlight the thrust areas. Most of these survey sections, we collect data that is associated with the thrust area. So for each participant that you are reporting an associated thrust area. For each accomplishment, you report an associated thrust area. For the functional budget data, you report that data allotted by the each thrust area for your center's projects. And a thrust area is considered the unifying research focus that's required for all CREST supported projects. And I highlight the thrust areas because we collect this information a little differently. We actually collect it before we open the data collection. And the reason is because it does appear in multiple places throughout the survey questionnaire. So we want you to just, not have to re-enter that. We enter it for you. So as you're reporting on your participants or your accomplishments, you have a drop-down window to select through these preloaded thrust areas. So this is really only important though for new awards or if you received a new phase 2 award and perhaps your thrust areas may have changed. So I just add this reminder in there so that as we come up on a new data collection cycle, or if you're an existing new award and you haven't sent us this information yet, please be mindful to do so. And then we preload that information for you prior to the opening of the data collection cycle. So one question that we often get from awards is just the ability to review historical data. So in this slide, I wanted to point out that you do have access to reports for reviewing historical data. And those are viewable through again, that blue sort of box and list of links. And at the bottom, there is the report/review link. And you have access to 5 different types of reports. And in these reports, we break them down by center and budget information, accomplishments, participants, and then counts for participants and counts for accomplishments. And then you can further break that information down. You can filter it by a specific reporting year, so current year or historical. You can also, for some of the reports, further break it down by participant type or accomplishment type. But either way, you have access to these reports if you ever want to view any of your historical data. And this slide is just really to point out that we have a help menu as well. It's located at the top right-hand portion of the screen, and it's broken down by various topic areas, and just want to highlight that this is available to you as well as a resource. And then finally, I will leave you with a data slide so you have a sense of the data that we collect at this aggregate level for NSF. And this is representative of the 2019 reporting year, which would cover the previous reporting period. But we had 31 active CREST centers reporting in 2019 and 11 HBCU Rise Awards. We had a total participants for CREST 1,495 and 172 for HBCU Rise. And then we further break those down into PIs, co-PIs, faculty and postdocs, and students. And then finally for publications, or not finally, midway through, for publications for CREST, we had collected 672 for CREST Awards and 65 for HBCU Rise Awards, 705 presentations and 68 for HBCU Rise. 144 additional awards were made for CREST, and then 22 for HBCU Rise, and we break that further down to additional award funding, which represents the entire grant, and then award funding specifically for these centers. And then finally, we have totals for the number of collaborative partners, which is 211 for CREST and 11 for HBCU Rise. So with that, that sort of covers the CREST overview. And in this next portion of the presentation, Ariel is going to take over, and she's going to run through some of the common issues and frequently asked questions we receive from you during your reporting. And Ariel, did we lose full view? Do you need any assistance? And you're on mute if you're talking.
Are you able to see now?
Yep, you're all set and it's full view.
All right. Okay, thank you, Maggie. I'm going to answer a few of the frequently asked questions we get with the CREST reporting. One of the questions we get, or one of the things that we have to say is really important, is that you provide updated URLs for your CREST centers and HBCU Rise Awards. That information is populated into the forward-facing CREST website that, of course, students who are interested in your programs or anyone else who wants to know more about your centers will need to visit. So those updated URLs at any point, just send us an email with the updated URL, even if it's not during our survey reporting period. Those are welcome. Who should be reported as participants? For the purposes of our reporting, there is one lead PI highlighted in each of our survey collections. And of course, that person has full rights in terms of managing users. And there are also other PIs that can be added, and anyone else can be added that has to help with reporting data. We do want faculty and postdocs added as well. Students are the biggest portion of the survey, and cited only students are typically students who previously received funding, but no longer receive funding, but are still coming up in some of the activities, such as some of the publications. The publication may have come out after the previous reporting period. They're no longer receiving funding, but they're still being cited on certain presentations or works. Of course, noting the different funding sources, specifically the CREST or HBCU Rise funding is key. And we just want to issue the reminder that for the students, they should be US citizens, US nationals, or permanent residents. You can also add other personnel and contributors as needed. Getting more into the student portion of the survey, this is some of the information we ask for, and you are able to note any other sources of funding as well for your centers. We do have the portion at the top where we have the reporting periods. Occasionally, the students may, there may be an error in data entry where there is issues in terms of the student progression. They may be listed as a freshman in 2014, 2015, then a senior for the next year. And you can see any of those issues and let us know if something was entered incorrectly. And that is something that also comes up with our data review period that happens after we receive surveys. When a student is finished with the program, we just want you to note that for that particular reporting period, you should not select the still in CREST program portion if they are no longer in the program. Just remember to mark that option if they were still at the program at the end of that particular reporting period, but for the next year, if they had something else for the next reporting period, then select that option. Of course, if they're still in the CREST program, then they will continue to repopulate in your survey. In terms of the different accomplishments, for each of the accomplishments, it's important to add the key participants so that each of the students or PIs or whoever else was involved gets associated with that accomplishment. And we do ask that you provide a brief description of how CREST contributed to this particular accomplishment, be it helping with funding or transportation or resources, just anything the CREST Center was helpful with. In general, the accomplishments that we ask for are proposals and awards. This includes a section that you can select if the award is pending or already received. Of course, from year to year, it may be pending one year and then received the next year, and you can mark that progression. The different presentations, publications, collaborative projects, patents, activities, and conferences organized. And in terms of collaborative partners, we just ask that you list those institutions and, of course, how they were collaborative in terms of they helped with like the undergraduates, graduates, postdocs, or anything else. Just let us know. And of course, the functional budget. This is another area where the thrust areas show up. And at the beginning of your survey journey with us, you will send us thrust areas. And at any time, those thrust areas need to be updated. Just let us know so we can add those to your survey. So those are broken down in the budget. And we ask you to list what was spent and also use your discretion and be consistent with the different sections. I know there's sometimes confusion on if something should go under education and outreach or administration. Just use your own discretion and be consistent. That's all I have. Of course, if you have any questions, you can email us at support@crestweb.org or give us a call at 1-800-665-8961 extension 5. And if no one answers, then please leave a voice message. Thank you. And of course, are there any questions?
There are 2 questions in the chat. The first question is, if we provide supplies or equipment to foreign students, should we add them?
Yes, you can add them that they just received the resources, but they shouldn't be receiving like tuition or stipend funding.
Thank you. The second question is, if a CREST PI participated in supporting an NSF MRI proposal by another person, where should this information be entered?
You mean the center was helping someone else complete a proposal?
That's my interpretation of the question, that the center assisted someone else in preparing the proposal.
Is the center benefiting from the proposal?
Now that is difficult for me to tell looking since it's a written text, but let's make the assumption the center will benefit from the proposal.
Then that can be added to the proposal section, and you can add, of course, in the description section that that center was also helping another program receive funding, or that you were sharing the funding. Just any of those details, add that in the description section of the proposal section.
And great, thank you. Yeah, we guessed correctly. All right. All right, technology is great. All right, well, thank you so much for this presentation. It is much appreciated. I know you shared contact. Go ahead.
I said, thank you.
Yes. And I know you shared contact information. For those listening on this webinar, please reach out if you have additional questions. Thank you. All right, the next part of the presentation is I will briefly cover some information about the CREST PRF. Those are the postdoctoral research fellows. And I will give me one moment to share my screen. Okay, I'm now sharing my screen. This comes from a webinar that I presented in November 2020. We intend on presenting another webinar in November 2021 regarding the CREST Postdoctoral Research Fellowships. The goal of the CREST PRF is to support beginning CREST Center investigators with research experiences that broaden their perspectives and facilitate interdisciplinary interactions and establish them in positions of leadership within the scientific community. The CREST PRFs are students who participated in your CREST Center. They earned their doctoral degree by the required fellowship start date, and they are affiliated with your active CREST Center. All right, so that means they receive some graduate student funding from your CREST Center for at least a year. That's going to be certified by the CREST Center directors, and they have not worked more than 24 full-time equivalent months in positions that require a doctoral degree. So typically the majority of our applicants are graduate students on the last phase of their doctoral research. They are in the final stages of preparing their dissertation, or they're in the final stages, or they have recently completed their dissertation and recently graduated with their doctoral degree. All right, the CREST PRF must not have served as a principal investigator or co-principal investigator on an NSF award other than an NSF Graduate Research Fellowship. So this award is for new investigators who have recently completed their doctoral research in your CREST Center. The person applying for the CREST PRF should inform the CREST Center director or PI of their intent to submit a CREST PRF proposal. This is important because we only award a certain number of PRFs per center. All right, the person must submit a project plan that aligns with the research focus of the host CREST Center, and they must not have submitted concurrently the same project to another NSF program. The duration for this fellowship is 2 years. The fellowship stipend is $70,000 per year. There's a fellowship allowance of up to $30,000 per year. That fellowship allowance includes materials, supplies, equipment, database, computing resources, travel, etc. Expenses in support of fringe benefits, which may include but not limited to health insurance through a group or individual plan, dental or vision insurance, disability, retirement savings, dependent care, and moving expenses. We estimate a total of 5 new awards in 2020. So there's materials and supplies, travel. For example, we had a recipient last year from a CREST Center at Florida A&M who received a CREST PRF. That person actually used some of the, when you look at the research, is collaborative work with Harvard University. So he travels back and forth to Harvard to do some collaborations. We see collaborations where people go out to remote sites to do their research. You may use, in previous years, we've had CREST PRF recipients use some of the fellowship allowance for childcare, dependent care expenses. All right, so that additional funding, up to $50,000 for research and travel expenses at a non-CREST center. So for example, in the previous example, if you had a non-CREST center, Harvard is obviously not a CREST center, but you can use some of that funding to go back and forth to do collaborations. This must be requested in the original proposal. It cannot be requested after the fact. And you must have documented approval from the sponsoring and non-CREST center scientists that this is okay. And this does not count towards the $200,000 cap. May only submit 1 fellowship application to a CREST PRF per year and may apply in no more than 2 successive years. All right. There's a maximum of 3 individuals per active CREST center who may submit per competition, and only 1 individual can be awarded a new CREST PRF at an active CREST center per year. So that means there can only be 1 awardee per year. You may have more than 2 awardees at any one time, but there can only be 1 awardee per year. Right, the application process, the person submitting a PRF should submit the PRF themselves. You do not do it through the home institution. You register as an individual researcher to gain access to the application. Currently, we're still doing this through FastLane. And you apply for the postdoctoral fellowship and other programs tab. There's a required supplementary documentation for the CREST PRF, the abstract, the dissertation research, the sponsoring scientist statement, letters of support from the host institution. This is signed by the department chair or dean, the CREST Center Director or CREST PI at the applicant's institution, and then a non-CREST Center sponsor, if applicable, must provide a one-page letter and two-page CV. And then also a data management plan, 2 pages max. I've eliminated some slides from this presentation in the interest of time. Of course, you are expected to provide project summary, project description, et cetera, as the person would normally do for a normal proposal. This is required supplementary documentation. The sponsoring scientist statement includes a CV, 2 pages from each sponsor, and it provides a brief description of the projects. It describes how the applicant's research and training plan is going to complement ongoing research and how the applicant will receive professional development and mentoring to commence their career. All right, and it describes the sponsor's role in the proposed research and training and other sources that will be available to the fellow. The letter of support, from the department chair or dean, supports the application. It states that the applicant will have access to resources, that the CREST Center will still continue to support the applicant in his or her research. All right, the calendar, these are our previous dates. We just went through a proposal deadline, December 4th. Panel reviews are expected late February, early March, and we expect award recommendations to be out in May of 2021. I'm the primary contact at this time. You see my email address and also my phone number regarding the CREST PRF. And I'll leave that slide up and I will refer to the Q&A. Anyone with potential PRFs in materials, modeling, or experiment, talk to us at Cal State University, Santa Barbara. Thank you, Kimberly Cousins, for that. So if you have a CREST student who's looking to do a PRF at another CREST center, this is allowed. Your CREST students do not have to stay at your CREST in order to do their PRF. They can go to another CREST center. In fact, this would be good to allow some crosstalk between your CREST centers to further develop your research. It would be a good idea for someone to take some techniques they've learned at one CREST center and apply those at another CREST center and vice versa. All right, another comment, Maria Tamargo. Maria, I just followed you on Twitter earlier today, but the question is they are interested in considering PRF applicants and materials, including bio-inspired materials and quantum materials. They can be a theory or experimental CREST at City College of New York, and she provides an email address. And the deadlines, I think, I will go back to the deadlines. All right, we just finished a deadline on December 4th, 2020. It is I will update the deadlines are on the CREST website. I don't know the deadline off the top of my head, but it's the first week of December in 2021. All right, yes, they can stay at the same CREST center. So a CREST applicant, PRF, can either stay at their home CREST center, or they can decide to go to a different CREST center. All right. Okay. Well, with that said, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. We see the proposal deadlines. This is from the previous year, first week of December. Please check crestweb.org for the current deadlines. All those deadlines have been updated by our wonderful team at ICF through Maggie and Ariel have updated those deadlines recently. So I know they are current on crestweb.org. Okay, with that said, we will go to NSF Media Affairs Office of Legislative, OLPA. And I'm going to mess up the acronym, so I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to hand the screen over to Cassie Eichner. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly.
It's Eichner, but it's okay. Thank you so much.
Right.
Hi, how's everybody doing today? I'm going to share my screen with you. Are you able to see a mural? Are you awesome? Okay, thank you so much. So I'm Cassie. I work in the Office of Legislative and Public Affairs at National Science Foundation. And I wanted to talk to you today about the NSF media team and ways that we can collaborate together to amplify our collective stories. All right, so NSF funding has enabled discoveries and technologies that improve the lives of people all across the world and across the US. And so we want to share those stories. And as an NSF awardee, you're a part of that story. So we really need you to help us tell that story. Your story is NSF's story. And when you or we tell it, we can communicate the impact of fundamental research on our daily lives. So there are a few key ways that we can work together to help share that message. Keeping NSF informed of your project's development is very important, and you can do that by alerting your program officer in advance of important announcements. You can also use your program officer to request quotes and background information for a press release that you may be putting out. And our media team can also work in coordination with your press office for events and a variety of communication products to help amplify that audience reach. And this could be anything from a collaborative physical press event, a virtual press event, to a press release or social media engagement. And the earlier that we're engaged, the better. And if your institution is issuing a press release that you'd like us to help amplify in the news, please reach out to your media officer, or they may be called your public information officer. I know they have some different names at different organizations, and shoot us an email. And at the end of the presentation, I have a quick reference contact list that you can reference. Also, different ways that you can acknowledge NSF support, however it's required by the proposal and awards policies and procedure guidelines. Those are also good ways to help share the story. In social media, when you're doing social media posts or your media team is doing social media posts, using NSF hashtags like hashtag NSF funded and hashtag NSF stories for your pictures, videos, or news about your research on social media. And I apologize for the background noise. I have a dog and a teenager, and I try to bribe their silence with food, but it is not working today. So I apologize. Another way is by integrating the NSF logo into your web pages, videos, social media channels, on facilities and instruments and other aspects of your work. And there is a NSF branding guide, and I put the link to it at the on the next slide as well. So I'm gonna hop to the next slide. All right, so this is our quick reference list. Please, if you're able to either take a picture of it or a screenshot, or perhaps if you need it, we can always shoot it off to you over email. So a quick reference list with our contact, our media team. We have a full media team on staff. The CREST is within my portfolio, but we have a great staff of people. So if you email media@nsf.gov, a member of our team can help you very quickly. So if I'm ever on leave, or there's a holiday, or I sell a book that I wrote and make millions and pursue other paths, you can always reach somebody by using that email alias. So I highly encourage you to reach out with any questions you may have. If you have compelling imagery and videos, we can actually use those on our multimedia team, and we will give credit to the author of those. So please send those to multimedia@nsf.gov. If you have a press release that you want us to help amplify, you can send that to researchnews@nsf.gov. And if you have questions about using logos, you can visit our website link that I listed below. There is also a contact there. And again, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us on the media team or your program officer. On social media, we are on Twitter, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on Instagram. So please tag us where you can. And you can find us at NSF on Twitter and Facebook. And if you'd like to stay on top of what we're doing and what some of our priorities are for the organization, the news and the outreach that we're doing, you can always sign up for email alerts or visit us on social media and NSF's blog, Science Matters. So if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them, and whatever I can't answer, I can make sure I get back to you on. Do you have any questions at the moment? All right, I'll take that as a no. And if you have any in the future, again, please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for your time. I'm so excited to see what you accomplish over the next couple of years.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Okay, I have a few more slides to share. One about the mid-career awardee program, and I will share that in just one moment. And also about the career proposals. So the mid-career awards is a relatively new program at NSF. Hopefully everyone can see my screen now. The Mid-Career Awards is a relatively new program at NSF. The solicitation number is NSF 21-516. And the purpose of this program is to provide scientists and engineers protected time and resources to remain engaged in active cutting-edge research at a critical career stage. The idea for this is to protect time for those, it's imagined that those at the associate professor rank are the ones who will be applying for these awards. You can contact me for additional eligibility information. And the idea is it allows time for someone that particular rank. This person may have been spending amount of time on administrative work. They may have been doing a lot of time doing mentoring. They may have had to deviate from their core research due to perhaps dependent care issues. Anything along those lines, something that's taking you away from your core research, or maybe you desire to pivot to a slightly different area. The mid-career awards warrants a look, and it's intended to support advancement not otherwise likely to occur. So you may be an associate professor, which this is targeted towards, and you don't see a good pathway for you to advance your research without this type of protected time. And the protected time includes funds for a total of 6.5 months of salary. And that's, for example, that's half of a typical 9-month academic year plus 2 additional summer months. Plus it provides us fringe over the course of the grant. So it's not a yearly 6.5 months, but it's 6.5 months over the course of the entire grant, which is expected to last 3 years. Resources, direct costs, $100,000 in support of research, advancement, and also a training plan. The mid-career awards requires that you have a collaborator and the collaborative activities detailed in your particular proposal. So that collaborator provides you mentoring from either a professional development perspective or from a technical perspective. Maybe you want to learn a new technique or method that you want to apply to your research. If you have questions about this, you can use mca.info@nsf.gov. This is a targeted date. The targeted date was February 1st, 2021. And what that targeted date means is that is not a deadline date. We prefer proposals received by that date, but we will still consider proposals received after that date. This is our first year into the foray of this particular program. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I see a question is the $100,000 in addition to the protected time. Yes, that $100,000 is in support of that research advancement and training plan. All right, so that's the first thing I want to share. And give me one moment, and I will share information about the career awards. All right, brief 3 slides about the faculty early career development program. Right, the goal of the program is to provide stable, sufficient level support at a sufficient level of duration to enable awardees to develop careers as outstanding researchers. These are typically your assistant professors who are joining your department or your CREST center, et cetera. It allows them to demonstrate commitment to teaching, learning, and dissemination of knowledge. The opportunity, the solicitation number is 20-525. Proposals are due July 26, 2021. This is foundation-wide. This is across all directorates, including the EHR. All right. You submit a proposal to your most relevant program. There were more than 9,000 career awards made since 1996. All right. Criteria: doctoral degree in NSF-supported field, engaged in research education in an NSF-supported field, employed in a tenure track or equivalent position, and an assistant professor or equivalent. No previous career award. All right. There's additional information about the career awards and solicitation NSF 20-525. All right. In terms of the programs that may apply for a Division of Human Resource Development, we see the listing EHR Core Research, HBCU-UP, Lewis Stokes Alliance, and then the TCUP programs. You may see overlap between your university, your institution, and some of the other programs. We see a Division of Undergraduate Education, Division of Research or Learning in formal and informal settings, and we also see the Division of Graduate Education. So I want to alert you to that opportunity, especially for your assistant professors as they are considering how to navigate the tenure and promotion process. All right. There's a question here about the mid-career award in terms, can a full professor apply for a mid-career award? The mid-career awards are not intended for those at the full professor rank. Okay, now we will open it up as best as possible to see if we can answer. We have about 10 more minutes. And I will monitor the chat to see if there are any questions and see if we can answer those questions in the chat. There's also a Q&A box available. Can an MCA be used for an associate professor sabbatical? I would suggest having a more detailed conversation about that. You do have 6.5 months release time over the entire 3-year period of that particular grant. You want to make sure when you're writing your proposal for an MCA that you clearly describe how the carved out release time from additional duties is going to enhance your opportunities to pursue your research. So slides from today's presentation be available. I'm hesitant to say this, but I'm going to say it. You can contact me if you need the slides. All right, so I'm going to be forewarned, though, do not expect the immediate turnaround on this. Probably over the weekend, you send me the emails for the slides. So email me by Friday evening, and I'll get them sent out to you Sunday night, Monday morning. All right. I just probably do them all as one batch file for the slides. And use the subject line, slides from PI meeting. Use a subject line, slides from PI meeting, so I do not overlook that particular email. So I can accumulate all those, so I can minimize the amount of labor I have to do to send those slides out to you. So slides from PI meeting should be in the subject line of your email, and I'll get them back to you. Oh, I see I'm responding to someone directly, and slides from PI meeting should be the subject line. So I posted my email address in the chat, and slides from PI meeting should be the subject line when you're requesting the slides from the PI meeting. And I will get them to you Sunday night, Monday morning. All right, I do not see any additional questions. Thank you for attending this session. It's been a pleasure sharing this information with you. I miss seeing everyone in Washington, D.C. And I'm confident that due to the scientific progress we make at our CREST centers and the scientific progress we make in this country, that next year we'll be back to meeting in person. I'm going to see if Victor, do you have anything to say?
Well, just to thank everyone, and please be safe.
Yes, please be safe. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for presenting. Bye.